Hi, MC Devakumar, Associate Professor in Botany, Veerashava College, Ballari. So today topic is that respiration and fermentation. This is for the sixth semester students. Good morning to everybody. So the respiration means it is the process of biological oxidation of organic food. So has to release the potential or chemical energy stored in the food material. The energy produced in respiration is used in various activities of the organism. The organism will immediately die if it is unable to get the energy for some time. Therefore, the energy releasing process, the respiration, is being carried out continuously by all living beings. The energy liberated during the respiration is stored for some time in ATP and other energy rich molecules which transfer the same to other chemicals for carrying out the other metabolic activities. Some of the energy is, however, not picked up by these compounds. This gets wasted in the form of the heat. The food material which is oxidized in respiration is glucose or some other similar simple carbohydrates. This chapter, that is the respiration and the fermentation, primarily this chapter will be concerned with the controlled release and utilization of the stored energy by the process of respiration and fermentation for the support and maintenance of the living system. Important life processes such as the synthesis of the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates require certain expenditure of energy. Where does this energy comes from? How is it stored? And how is it made available to the living cells? These are some of the questions that will be analyzed in this topic. During the process of the photosynthesis, light energy is converted to chemical energy and stored in the bonds of complex organic molecules. The major portion of stored energy in plants is found in the form of carbohydrates such as starch and glucose. The weakening or the breaking of the carbon bonds of the such compounds releases a considerable amount of energy for utilization by the plant. But however, the total amount of energy contained within a compound such as, for example, glucose is not released all at once but slowly in a stepwise series of the reactions controlled by the enzymes. Generally, a series of the reactions in the cell leading to the synthesis or breaking down of organic compounds is referred to as a metabolic pathway. So in this chapter, then we will discuss the metabolic pathways of the respiration and fermentation and their connection with the controlled release of stored energy. The most important, the future of the respiration is the release of usable energy. We will analyze the various metabolic pathways that participate in the release of this energy. So in this topic or in our discussion, we will use the word oxidation and reduction. Oxidation refers to the removal of electrons from a compound, a process usually accompanied in the cell by the removal of hydrogen. Reduction refers to the addition of the electrons to that compound, usually accompanied in the cell by the addition of the hydrogen. The mechanism of the respiration, it can be studied under the three headings. The first heading, it is glycolysis. The second one, it is the Krebs cycle. And the third one, it is the electron transport system. Glycolysis, it is a term used to describe the sequential series of reactions present in a wide variety of tissues that starts with the exosugar, usually glucose, and ends with pyruvic acid. During the glycolysis, the chemical decomposition or the chemical separation or the chemical degradation of the carbon skeleton of the organic food materials will be taking place. Glycolysis is not a one-step reaction, but a series of closely integrated reactions that lead eventually to the pyruvic acid. Another point to be stressed is that the reaction of glycolysis occur in the cytoplasm and do not require the presence of oxygen. Glycolysis may be subdivided into two major steps: the conversion of the glucose to fructose 1,6-diphosphate and the splitting of this compound into 2,3 carbon compounds which are eventually converted into pyruvic acid. Three reactions occur in the stepwise conversion of the glucose to fructose 1,6-diphosphate. First, the sixth carbon of the glucose is phosphorylated in the presence of the ATP and the enzyme hexokinase. The products of these reactions are glucose 6-phosphate and ADP. And the next reactions of the glycolytic pathway, it involves the conversion of one aldose sugar to a keto sugar. This reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme phosphoglucoisomerase and results in the conversion of glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. So in the next reaction of the glycolysis, the first carbon of the fructose 6-phosphate is then phosphorylated in the presence of ATP and the enzyme phosphofructokinase. The products of these reactions are fructose 1,6-diphosphate and ADP. The second major steps in glycolysis involves the splitting of fructose 1,6-diphosphate into 2,3 carbon compounds, 3-phosphoglycerolide and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. The enzyme aldolase catalyzes this reaction and the products formed are interconvertible. That is, an equilibrium exists between the 2,3 carbon compounds catalyzed by the enzyme triose phosphate isomerase. In the next step of the glycolysis, the 3-phosphoglycerolide is converted into 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid. This reaction involves incorporation or addition of inorganic phosphate to the first carbon of 3-phosphoglycerolide and the reduction of NAD to NADH2. The reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme phosphoglycerolide dehydrogenase. The consumption of the inorganic phosphate in the oxidation of the 3-phosphoglycerolide is important to the plants because this phosphate is involved in the synthesis of ATP in the next reactions of the glycolytic pathway. In the presence of the ADP and the enzyme phosphoglyceric kinase, the 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid is converted into 3-phosphoglyceric acid and ATP is formed. The synthesis of the ATP by the transfer of the phosphate group from the one of the intermediates of the pathway to ADP is known as substrate level phosphorylation. So in the next reaction, the 3-phosphoglyceric acid that is formed in the above reaction is transformed to 2-phosphoglyceric acid by the activity of the enzyme phosphoglyceromutase. So in the next step, the elimination of the elements of the water from the 2-phosphoglyceric acid in the presence of the enzyme enolase results in the formation of phosphoenol pyruvic acid. In the last steps of the glycolysis, in the presence of the ADP and the enzyme phosphopyruvic kinase, phosphoenol pyruvic acid is converted into pyruvic acid. The formation of the pyruvic acid, it ends the first phase of the respiration, that is the glycolysis. Let us now draw up a balance sheet for the glycolysis. In the first step, the conversion of the glucose to fructose 1,6-diphosphate, there is no energy carried. In the second phase of the instead, the 2 ATP molecules are consumed for every glucose molecule is phosphorylated. However, in the second step, the conversion of the fructose 1,6-diphosphate into 2 molecules of the pyruvic acid, 4 ATP molecules are formed, that is 2 from each triose phosphate. If you consider the complete glycolytic scheme, the conversion of a molecule of glucose to 2 molecules of the pyruvic acid results in a net gain of 2 ATP molecules. Thank you.